What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome back to another episode of Toys in My Closet. And today I'm going to try to do the Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, Revelations, Revolution, and New Eternians Best of 2023 Countdown. And this year was kind of a strong year. They had a lot of figures, a lot of redos, kind of like G.I. Joe Classified with the retro carded stuff. Trying to reintroduce certain characters or redo them to fit a more modern style aesthetics mixed with the old. And then a lot of characters that were unexpected, kind of obscure, and that nobody thought really we would see in the line so early, I guess is the best way to put it, before other main characters, right? But all in all, this is what I consider the best figure collection out there right now that has the less hype. A lot of people are sleeping on the Masterverse stuff. They think that it's not that good because it's from Mattel now. People are also stuck with the idea that only the Masters of the Universe Mattel Classics from Matty Collector are the only creme de la creme, or with Origins, which I already said. Origins was, nostalgia from the past, and although they're cool, which I also collect, the Origins don't compare to the newer, more hyper-realistic and more adult-like stuff that we get now, today, since Classic, or since 2000X. With the Mike Young production, because even that stuff was good. When the figures came out, there was only 5 point of articulation. If they redid them today through the Masterverse line, because it's part of one of the factions, I think they would look incredible as well. So I'm going to show you a couple of boxes from the stuff that I wasn't able to review, because again, just like the DC Multiverse with McFarlane, I couldn't review a lot of these figures even though I had them. And I'm a Masters of the Universe fan. I call myself He-Bot because I like He-Man. He for He-Man, and the Bot was because I like Xbox. Thanks to my brother Master Chief that suggested the name. I thought, hey, that's kind of catchy. I used to go by the name of Earring Paladin, meaning I wore earrings and I was the paladin for my children. And I changed it, right? So, it's kind of embarrassing because it makes me look like a fraud in a way, even though that was not the intent. It's just very hard to do the reviews, like I said, because too many figures come out. I collect too many things, and it's just impossible because of my time, especially because I like to play games, watch movies. It's very difficult, almost impossible. You're never going to get to everything, so you have to try to figure out a way how to basically show it all off in one nice swing. And this is a great opportunity with a countdown, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show all the figures that I got came out this year, but I'm going to rate them from the least best to the best in the countdown. I don't know how many figures I have altogether. I think it's about maybe 30 that came out. I could be wrong, but more or less that's the range. I even just got this brand new Ultimate Skeletor starting off the new year from Mondo. He was in hiatus and on his way since December the 7th. And I just got him today, literally, or yesterday, which was January 6th, I want to say. So it took that long. Came from Shanghai. So anyway, he's absolutely fantastic. I did the Prince Adam one, so I'll be reviewing him soon, hopefully, as a solo dolo. Even though, unfortunately, I couldn't get the Panther because it was too quick after the recent release of Battle Cat. And Panther was ready to go. They had him, and they already had him ready to ship. Unlike Battle Cat, you had to wait for a while. And that was another $500 that I just couldn't put on the credit card to play it slow. It is what it is. Maybe someday I'll be able to get them. Who knows? But unfortunately, I couldn't. It is what it is. So guys, sit back, relax, enjoy your digital drink. Hopefully you'll stay with me for the whole countdown and review, and we'll have a good time, and maybe, and enjoy this countdown, and I'll show you some comparisons with some of the figures, just to give you an idea of the differences and evolution through the years with some of the figures that I have accessible to me at hand. And then, hopefully you'll enjoy it. Share it, share it with someone you think might like. Let them know after it's up on my channel, and share the link. So I'll see you guys in a blink of an eye. Stay tuned. So here we go, guys, really quick. Here are some of the boxes of some of the figures that came out this year that I still have because I did not get to review them. And as you can see, there's a nice amount, but a lot of beautiful artwork. And for what I understand, and I've seen that some of the new wave started hitting even right before the new year, but I still don't have my hands on it as of this moment, like Wildor, 2-pack with Orko, things like the Evelyn from the Masters of the Universe movie, and the other Skeletor from Revelations or Revolution, and even the Mechanic Battle Armor He-Man Triclops, and I believe it's King Keldor figure. So I still don't have that. Keep that in mind. Plus, I have some boxes of certain figures that I'm going to show that came out this year, and I don't have the boxes because I did review them in my channel at some point. So I wanted to throw that out there. Let me show you a couple more. And again, guys, here are more artwork from the boxes. Like I said, I haven't reviewed none of these guys, even though I have them in my possession. It's been that hard. But again, you see the beautiful artwork from Ram Man all the way to the new Eternia Grizzlord. They look great. So this is what the boxes look like. And then now let's get into the countdown. Okay, guys, this list consists of 33 figures. So starting off at number 33 is none other than the Galactic He-Man from New Adventures of He-Man. And New Adventures of He-Man, again, although looks really, really nice, and although it has a lot of great added touches where you can make them into both He-Man figures, and you can actually have them with the armor and without the armor, and you can actually take out his hands, give him different hand sets. Plus you have wonderful translucent weapons for him. Although he stands very strong, looks really good, what makes him my least favorite is his portrait, his head portrait. Even though he has a ponytail, his head portrait reminds me a lot of the guy who plays Boomerang in Suicide Squad and plays the son of Bruce Willis in the Die Hard movie. I'm gonna pause it real quick. There he is with a helmet. I'm gonna pause it real quick so you guys can see the picture here of who I'm talking about really fast, so you can see what I mean. And there it is, guys. There is the reason why he is at number 33 of my least, or of the best of, from Masters of the Universe, Masterverse for 2023. Now he would have been a lot higher or lower in the numbers. So coming in at number 32 of my best of but least favorite in the Masterverse line is none other than live action movie He-Man. And this figure is absolutely stunning. Amazing amount of details, even more details than the actual classics ones, believe it or not. Like this trimming there in the bottom of his cape, And this cloth good is absolutely something that is absent on the classics one, and a bunch of other intricacies that you see on him. But what killed this figure, and this figure could have easily been the #1 spot, is his portrait. His portrait just does not look correct at all in any way, shape, or form. It's really, really bad, as you can see. But as far as the figure itself, from, you know, the knife holder and one on his legs, shin guards on his legs, the shoulder pauldrons, everything, the little piece here, bandana on his, bicep, the holster for the gun, the gauntlets on his forearms, everything about this figure is amazing. But that's why I didn't put him higher up. Like I said, he could have easily been figure of the year, but because of that head portrait being so off, you can't help but ignore it, because he should have looked more like Dolph Lundgren. But that is my number 32. So coming in at number 31 is none other than the Masters of the Universe Revelations Sorceress Evelyn. And Sorceress Evelyn, don't get me wrong, she looks really, really beautiful, really nicely done, very accurate to the source material. But one thing that they kind of shortened her out or skimped out on her is that you'll notice that her body and all the details on her body is supposed to be kind of the clothing, right? So they didn't put no rubber materials or sculpt it. It's all basically painted on. And because of that, it makes you feel like they kind of cheaped out on her. But then when you look at her portrait and you see the cowl, you see how beautiful the face came out, and you know the mane on her with the supposed to be the blue fur, and then you have the cloth good bat-like purple cape. You know, it's conflicting, because she feels cheap, but yet she feels premium at the same time. And then her staff, the way it's painted, and the see-through translucent plastic. If that makes any sense, you guys know what I mean. I hope you understand what I mean. And that's why I, put her at the number 32 spot, or 31 spot rather, because she looks great, but again, she feels kind of like they cheaped out on her, So that is Evelyn, Sorceress Evelyn from Revelations at number 31. So coming in at number 30 is none other than Shadow Weaver. And, again, another conflicting decision and spot, because as you can see, Shadow Weaver is actually the best Shadow Weaver we've ever seen in figure form. And it took a long time to start getting figure forms of Shadow Weaver. She has really nice light, light, like monster green, I guess, or money green, and the way that she did in Princess of Power, because this is Princess of Power, the Princess of Power line from Revelations, or from the Masterverse rather. And then she has the wonderful, wonderful cloth goods, right? Beautiful colors on the champagne with the reds. Really nice head portrait, really nice effect piece, right, as you can see. And then she has really good articulation and comes with a nice stand. But because she's really restricted still in how you can play with her and how you can pose her, that's why I gave her the number 30 spot, because she's still a $20 figure, but a little bit lackluster when you have her in hand, because she feels kind of cheap and a little hollow. So that's Shadow Weaver from Princess of Power at number 30. And coming in at the number 29 spot is none other than Horde Skeletor from Revelations. Horde Skeletor was briefly seen in one of the in one of the backstories, or like flashback scenes in Revelations. I guess it makes sense to make a figure of him because the tooling wouldn't be too costly. It's pretty simplistic, but to be honest with you, Mattel really didn't spare no expense and didn't just bring over the same amount of tooling. Instead, and actually gave it enough differences to make this figure pretty special. Everything from the head portrait, as you can see, the staff, right, being actual translucent. Excuse me. Then the actual symbol of like the horde almost in the front in red. An actual new skirt piece with the horde symbol, as you can see, with really nice cuts and plastic and material. New gauntlets, right, with that nice black and red in the matte finish. And then obviously his felt cape, which is really, really nice. Kind of have to always clean it off, especially that it grabs a lot of hair easily. But the felt cape is feels good. It looks great, and having it across him in the front like that makes it look pretty sharp. So it doesn't feel cheap, but because he's basically a Skeletor figure with not many differences, and plus with other figures on this list that just really went balls to the wall, so to speak, with quality and how they really went out for the to make them, I gave Skeletor, the Horde Skeletor to be exact, the number 29 spot. So coming in at number 28 is the Masters of the Universe motion picture, live action motion picture Skeletor, which was played by the late great Frank Langella. Now, as you can see, this figure should be a lot higher in the list as far as in the top 10 spot. And he should be, because he's just absolutely stunning with detail, with the coloration, how much attention they put in, and his face portrait just nailed it. Compared to He-Man, they nailed it. And I'm assuming it is because Mattel was able to do this, is because it's not the actual face of Frank Langella, as opposed to Dolph Lundgren, and maybe they didn't have the rights to the likeness. But you can see all the intricacies in his shoulder pauldron and his cape in the back. It is cloth goods. It's got that burgundy brown with the purples, the blacks on the skirt, on the overlay, on the straps here on the side, looking almost like a Pope type design. The actual cosmic key, even the boots have all this level of detail with skulls on the top. I'm telling you, the belt buckle, the amount of detail in this figure is fantastic. And I really hate putting it so high on the list, but again, because it's a movie figure, not an actual mainline character from the Masters of the Universe line, that is why I put him so high. But it doesn't mean he's a bad figure. It's just based on what I'm trying to convey here, of what characters that are kind of obscure and never really get a lot of love, they really hit it out the park this year, which you'll see as the list goes on. That's why he comes in at the number 28 spot. So coming in at number 27 is none other than Dark Lynn from the Masters of the Universe Revelation animated series. And Dark Lynn is a Comic-Con exclusive, or was a Comic-Con exclusive that you were able to get only at Mattel Creations. So she's still an exclusive to Mattel Creations as well. And this was a pleasant surprise because it was another variation of Evil Lynn when she became basically a goddess in the cartoon, and they brought her to life in figure form, and she is absolutely done in pure perfection, from her portrait, the hair, crown, as you see there, looking absolutely fabulous. The gold crown around the neck, the pieces that you see here protruding out that looks supposed to represent the H, because she got the powers from the He sword, or the power sword. The pauldrons, the way they hang out, all the bare bones, the definitions and the details of her stomach, torso, all the way down to the buckles on her ankles and the little diamond studs on her feet. her brace, the jewel on her, skirt area with the gold and this nice plastic, string coming down with gold, and then the cloth goods with the gold, and then inside the cape it looks like this, like the stars in the universe, and it's a cloth good cape as well with actual, wires in it. Although she is very premium, she feels very premium. It's the fact that Mattel to this point is still not giving us a classic version of the Revelation, but classic style Evelyn, which is what most, I believe, fans of the multiverse line or He-Man in general is basically what they've been waiting for. Because, as you know, so far, we've gotten a couple of Evelyns from the one I showed you earlier in the list, and the very first one that we got from Masterverse, from Revelations, right in the beginning, right, of the toy line, which they try to go different, and they, and they gave her this one, which we all know, is it's a nice figure and all, came with a nice extra portrait, but we all want really this one, which is the classic style, and this is the Masters of the Universe Classic Evelyn. And then we have Origins, which is representative also of the vintage one, because that's how she was first born in the collection of He-Man. So, of course, as you can see here in her evolution, she is a great figure, but we want the classic Evelyn from Revelations because she would look absolutely gorgeous. So that's why she got the number 27 spot. Coming in at number 26 is none other than the new Eternia Man-at-Arms. And I know people are going to be like, oh, you're crazy because these figures are more modern and they're much more better constructed, painted, and even the articulation is a lot better in every way. But again, it's it's a Man-at-Arms figure, which we've already gotten a couple. The only difference is this is now a good representation of the Man-at-Arms that I like from vintage style, which was the mustache-less Man-at-Arms. That's the Man-at-Arms I grew up with because that's when I bought him as a figure. I don't see him as a guard. You see he has wonderful paints, metallic, metallic teal. This pouch piece here, this is from the other Man-at-Arms, which was the Outcast Man-at-Arms from Revelations. This is a wonderful amount of level of detail. And then he has the mace that has the ball and chain that comes out of it, which was inspired by the Mondo version, with different hoods and masks, a lot of options. And this hood is the classic one, and this comes off just so you guys can see. Do it here on camera. Then if you want to put it back on, it comes back on as well. This is the more classic style hood. I prefer this one over the new Eternia one because I feel it's like a little bit more lanky and kind of not that great. Only flaw with this figure is that you can't take out this guard, so if you want to completely undress him and have him without his armor, you can't. But other than that, it's great. Like I said, and it comes with the extra portrait, as you see here, which is the mustache version, which of course is going to fall out of my hands. Of course it will. But again, I don't want that type of Man-at-Arms because, like I said, we have plenty of other Man-at-Arms, like, for example, having the Revelation one next to him, side by side, which is from the animation. And you see that he's also a fantastic figure. Just looks a little bit different as far as the design because he's more of an animated form, but he still looks great. So this is why I prefer to have this Man-at-Arms as my newer vintage inspired Man-at-Arms, because He has no mustache, and I think he looks badass like that without it. So that is why he is in the number 26 spot. So coming in at number 25 is none other than the Mattel Creations 3-pack, or really 1-pack with the 3 different variations of clothing, Vicron from New Eternia. And this is the New Eternia version of Vicron, not to be mistaken by the Mattel Classics creation. But I think that this update and version of Vicron that they have managed to create is absolutely fantastic. And the figure is only $35, and it came with all these accessories. So I bought 3, as you can see, and I even changed the buck on that one over here, but the spacesuit on that side, just to kind of give it a little bit more differential look and feel, because the bucks are still very similar, just different color tones. But it's supposed to be the same character, because this was the creation and idea originally for the He-Man toy of what it was supposed to be. A perfect figure and hero that can turn into a spaceman, a Viking from medieval times, or a military man, like a G.I. Joe character, into a tank with wearing tank armor. So it's a beautiful set, highly recommended, and oddly enough, or surprisingly enough, still available on Matty Collectors. So that's why it takes the number 25th spot. So coming in at number 24 is none other than Masters of the Universe Revelations Classic Teela. And this figure is absolutely beautiful. They did not disappoint. She is very accurate. Came with a nice amount of accessories and different head portraits. And she really looks great, as you can see there. Absolutely beautiful with the nice colors, nice plastic, good articulation, and you know, the sword and all those beautiful details on the boots and on her skin with the blush and everything, and wonderful hairstyle with her crown. And the only reason why she's at number 24 is because they only I feel like they had they took a misstep with her by not adding the classic the classic snake armor, which would have been nice to have as an option to put it on her, because that's how we know classic Teela all around. And would have been nice to have it that way, but because she's based off Filmation, that's why they kept her simple with the one style that she had in Filmation, because Revelation is supposed to be after Filmation. It's supposed to be in the same universe, just modernized in anime form. So that's why she takes the number 24 spot. Coming in at number 23 is the Revelations Prince Adam. And he is a wonderful, wonderful figure. Great representation of the animated feel of, style of Prince Adam. He looks fantastic. Has wonderful proportions, just like the anime. They really nailed it. The face portrait is almost perfect, which is why I get mind-boggled that they haven't been able to get it right or do it right with the He-Man version of the figure. You see the Goldilocks hair, all of his details on him, his sword. He comes with a nice cosmic sword that looks like a cosmic sword, which is, you can build it up to give him in the position of saying power of Grayskull to change into He-Man. And even the boots have nice detail and colors on him. Definitely wonderful, wonderful figure with the white shirt underneath. And a great representation of, of Adam. And you can see how solid this figure is, and yet he's still so high on the list as opposed to lower, closer to the number 1 spot. And that just goes to show you, it should be kind of indicative of how good the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line was this year. Coming in at number 22 is Masters of the Universe Revolution, labeled Revolution. sorceress Tila. And yes, this is the first time that we actually get a figure form of what Tila is to become in the future in the Masters of the Universe line. Daughter to Man-at-Arms and daughter to the Sorceress. She is the one that takes the helm, which was at the end of Revelations, if you watch the series, which I highly recommend, and you see that she became the Sorceress. Wonderful head portrait. They nailed it. The crown is gorgeous. The hair is gorgeous. Everything about her. The depiction, the metallic on the pearl white. It looks pearlescent white. And pearlescent there on the torso and everywhere in the body. And the boots, how well painted they were with the gold highlights, blue, the white fur, and then even the actual cape, as you can see, cloth goods with the gold on white with the yellow gold trimmings, all the highlights on the gauntlet, on her biceps. She's just, they spared no expense, and then her white staff, of course. But of course, because again, like I said, it's still an interpretation of Tila in a new variation that we never got before. It's not really something that we haven't seen before, because we got a couple of Tilas in this line thus far. So, as you know, this is why I didn't put her a lot closer to number one. But beautiful figure, great articulation, hindered a little bit by the, the skirt. But of course, not terribly wrong where you can't appreciate the figure for what it is. So definitely recommend her. At number 22 is the New Revelations Sorceress Tila. Coming in at number 21 is none other than New Galactic New Adventures, basically Skeletor, which was a Target exclusive, just like the last He-Man. And Skeletor is a beautiful, beautiful interpretation of the original toy. Very lanky, even in the proportions, better than the classics, because classics he just looked too bulky, too extremely bulky, and this figure does not spare no expense. It's all a bunch of new tooling, as you can see. From his head portrait to his chest, you see all the circuitry on the torso, and the arms have nice shades of like a yellowy black with, as you see, details there looking like electronic bones to the back of his elbow. The way he did his loincloth, right, on his crotch, and his staff looks stupendous. The helmet looks really well done. It does come off as well, removable, and still keeps the same proportions. It doesn't look oddly proportioned, which is a great achievement. All the details and intricacies, the paint job, the eyes, looks great. And you can just slide this back in like so. Let's do this real quick. Slide it in, okay, and then you see on the legs, the thighs, everything, all those intricacies on the boots, and even new kind of robotic feet, and still have the monster shape, and then the back, where you can go crazy in penciling and lining him up to give him more detail, if you will. And then of course his cape, which is probably the weakest part, but still effective. Looks nice. It's a nice kind of a hot pink color, simplistic, but it just has that one ring over the neck. But again, I put him up in the list because again, he's just another variation of Skeletor from New Adventures, which is probably the least favorite of my least favorite, and from a lot of other He-Man's fans, the least favorite faction of the He-Man lore. But nonetheless, Mattel has done a fantastic job with this version of the figure. So that's why he takes the number 21 spot. So coming in at the number 20 spot is none other than the Masters of the Universe Revelations Castaway Man-at-Arms. I call him Castaway because this is when he basically left his position and Tila had left, so he kind of went in hiatus and left on his own. He was fired by King Randor when they found out, what happened to Prince Adam in the show, or knowing that he was He-Man and all kinds of cool stuff. But this figure was a deluxe figure, Target exclusive, and it came with a really, really whopping amount of accessories, great portrait, the signed pistol, and a lot of options to display it. You see the side gun there on his shoulder, which is a really nice touch. All the intricacies in his suit, his gauntlet, the gun contraption from his forearm, the cloth, shirt-like appearance that he has underneath. That go here in the belt, like I said, and then the gauntlets here. He just looks really great. And he has, like I said, a lot of nice different posability options. He has a second headless portrait, as you see there. That looks fantastic. And he has, extra set of hands, like so. And then he also had an extra scarf when you put it with the actual other portrait. And he also had the other belt, so you can wear also when he doesn't have the suit. And not to forget the actual cloth goods cape that's made out of felt. And you see that he has this red piece here, which is an effect piece, but that came with the Hordak from Princes of Power from Masterverse, that you can use it on the actual big cannon, which he also brings. His figure for the $35 price point had a lot of bang for its buck, and it was worth every cent because he's not only gorgeous, he's great. He looks fantastic, great paint job, great articulation, even though he has all that on. He's just a really fantastic figure. That's why I put him on the number 20 spot, but not lower, closer to number 1 because he's still a Man-at-Arms figure. So coming at my number 19 spot, remember what I said from this point forward, is basically most figures that you've never seen a lot of interpretations of them. And because they're obscure characters and they're getting that love that should be well deserved because it is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, not just He-Man. And that's what I loved about Revelations. It's not other than the Masterverse Revelations Clamp Champ, coming in at 19. And he has a wonderful portrait, looks very good. The likeness is very uncanny to the animation. The red loincloth with the washes in black, the silvers, the metallic blues and baby blues and teals. His clamp is very nicely done with a new way of approaching it, where the actual whole hand goes into the clamp. It is it has like a what you call it, springy action, but it's not with a button. It's just, you open it and it has spring action. A simple figure, not a reuse, but well executed, where you can appreciate that he's a different character. And Clam Champ is on the number 19 spot because there's so many more that are just hitting out the park in so many levels. But he is definitely one of the reasons why I said this list could not be narrowed down so to just 10, because just Masterverse killed it this year. Probably the most underrated toy line this year. Coming in at number 18 is none other than the Masters of the Universe New Eternia Faker. And a lot of people are going to be like, what, are you crazy? Because I've seen a lot of people put this figure in the number 1 spot. And to be honest, I can see why. Because he is very, very well executed. The best Faker figure thus far, unless you want to compare it to something like the Mondo, because that's just another level of detail and quality. But as far as the 7 and 6 inch scale, this was the best Faker ever made. This is the harness that came with the Faker from Revelations when he was in the robot form. This is the classic form, and you can actually use that. The inside of his chest, where you have the electricity stuff or circuits, is actually all detailed, fully sculpted, no sticker. They went out and really paid attention to the details. And his arm, he has those little knobs showing that he has robotic hands. The classic Revelation sword with the, actual orange and silver. His head portrait is probably one of the best portraits available right now. And I like that it doesn't look like the Revelations He-Man, but it looks like the classic vintage Faker, more modernized with the red hair, and to make it look more sinister and with the whited out eyes, he looks definitely intimidating. He has a power axe, which was never done before, where you can see the power axe is also kind of made out of robotic parts, which is cool. All that weathering, loincloth, nice and purple, the new belt, and then the nice painting on the actual boots with purple and blacks. So, definitive Faker, absolutely 100% the number one Faker of all, but because he's just, again, a reuse and tooling of a character, I put him at the number 18 spot because, again, he's just a retooling of figures from before. But he's definitely a must-have. Coming in at number 17, man, oh man, this is none other than the Sorceress from Revelations. And this is a beautiful, beautiful representation of the Sorceress. I really love this figure so much. But again, because there's so many other heavy hitters here that just took it out to another level this year with Revelations, I had to put her here in the number 17 spot. But look at their portrait. Look at the cowl, the shoulders, and this is all matte finish with a nice soft plastic. And the actual white on her, her dress, I guess it would be, going down with the whole arm, with the blues, showing off the legs, completely sex appeal at a nice level, but keeping it, modern, obviously. And more respectful, I guess, but with stupendous sex appeal. All the beautiful intricacies and details in there of feather by her brassieres. Her boobs look really beautifully made and sculpted. And then the, cloth goods that go back from her arms, and with the orange looking fabulous going into the bottom, which is the blue, and I believe this orange is supposed to be on the inside. They kind of did it backwards. So I think it's shout out for Eternia.com. He showed a way to do it, but it's kind of like risky, so I never tried it, being scared that I might ruin the figure, but definitely beautiful, the boots and stuff like that, because it doesn't really bother me that much, but maybe I'll buy an extra one day and do it just to see if it works for me. And then obviously her staff looking really nice, but she is beautiful and her head portrait is fantastic. And again, a wonderful representation. Only have her on the 17th spot because again, there's so many other strong figures that it was a hard decision to not include her or include her lower or closer to the number one spot. And here she is with Classics Sorceress, in case I want to see, because we haven't had really a lot of figures of Sorceress. There's only one from Loyal Subject, I believe, from Funko Pop, and then obviously the Vintage and Origins, which is based off the Vintage style and look. But there you have it, 17th spot, the Sorceress from Revelations. So my number 16 spot goes to the Masters of the Universe New Eternia Whiplash. And this is a beast of a figure. Looks really, really good. Really decent head portrait, even though I wish it was a little meaner, like the 2000X. Wonderful display options. Comes fully loaded because he's a deluxe figure. A bendable, actual bendy tail. But my biggest gripe and why I had him in number 16 is because the design on the legs. He stays arched. You can never stand him in an upright position. It always stays like this with an arch. And I think they did it because of the weight of this bendy tail, because it's plastic, but it's very heavy. So that's the only real reason why I think, they did that. But because of that, it bothers me. I want to stand them upright and I can't. But you see the beautiful orange with the actual loincloth, with the royal blues or the navy blues, big humongous feet with the guards, nice little weathering in there, and attention to detail, his classic spear and an axe that he comes with, because it's actually for his second posability option. So the other cool thing about this figure is that you kind of got two figures in one, in my opinion, even though he's supposed to be representing the new Eternia. So what I did is I bought two so that I can use the second figure as a kind of a Build-A-Figure, like an army of whiplashes, because it looks different enough where you can have them displayed in that fashion. So here I go. Here is the second one here that I have. I don't want him to fall over because it's kind of big, like I said. And you see he's already tilting on this side. But there you see that you can have two fully functional separate figures for the price of one. And he was a $35 figure. So I got two to use him as an army builder and use General Whiplash as, the one who leads these other guys that follow him, even though that's supposed to be his original or conceptual art and for his creation, and actually he's from New Eternia style. So there is my Whiplash, and real quick for point of reference, I also have the Classics Whiplash here, which is the Origins, or from Origins, so you guys can get an idea of the evolution of Whiplash, right? Put them there, and you can see how far we've come, but how much similarities is how even in the portraits of the face they have from vintage, even though this is the Origins, but it's based off the vintage to this point. We've had only the 2000X Whiplash, I believe, and I don't think they ever got to do any other ones since then. These are the only ones we got, but that's why he has my number 16th spot. So coming in at number 15 is the beautiful, gorgeous Frosta from Princess of Power. And yes, this is part of the Masterverse. And look at her. She's just absolutely stunning. From the fact, effect piece, the frozen effect piece, to the coloring of her hair, her outfit, her classic staff. And she comes with extra set of magic hands to display as possibility. A beautiful portrait she has. And her hair has an action feature where if you actually put it in the refrigerator, it turns translucent white, completely clear, and then it goes back to normal into this blue color, which is beautiful. It's never been done before with her, her figures going back even to the vintage. And you see all the details and intricacies, like I said. And her actual staff has a spinning feature as well. So she has like multiple play features. And it just, the stiletto boots going all the way down. Also sculpted and not just painted. So, and her skirt, obviously. And then her actual cloth cape looking gorgeous with that nice baby blue. So, you know, it just makes me excited to see what other characters are going to look like in this Masterverse if they continue this level of quality all throughout, because Patra is really strong too, and Shiro was really strong. So far they're knocking it out of the park with Hordak. Anything that's been Princess of Power has been absolutely top notch. But I put her in number 15 spot, like I said, because there's so many others that just, you know, you're going to see. There's no figure here that you could even say is just bad in any way, shape, or form from this point forward. It's just, you can't. So she's in my number 15 spot. And coming in at number 14 is none other than the Revelations Roboto. And this version of Roboto is absolutely stunning. Probably the best Roboto that we've gotten thus far in 6 and 7 inch scale. As you can see there, Roboto is very well sculpted, very well done. He has some limitations, obviously, due to the fact that he has a solid translucent chest piece, but you see all the circuitry inside of it. No play features when you move him, of course, like back in the day when you used to do things like this and move him. Doesn't have that, but he's painted really well, executed really well. Look at all the level of detail all over him. He was the one that used the trapdoor shin guards first. See the back, everything about him. He does have an articulated mouth, like almost all Robotos, and then he has the blaster piece. He just looks fantastic as Roboto, as we never really seen him before. And to just give a small comparison, this is the Origins Roboto, which is based off Vintage, and this will give you an idea of how far he's come along and the differences. The only one we got was the one from 2000X, which is an excellent figure too, but definitely limited as far as articulation. And I would love to see the Masterverse line create a new version of that one in Masterverse aesthetics and articulation scheme, because I think it would be absolutely beautiful. So Roboto is coming in at my number 14. Coming in at number 13 is none other than the Masters of the Universe Revelations Classic Style Merman. Also from the animation, looks very close to the animation, and this figure is absolutely stunning. This figure doesn't disappoint. It took a little while to bring him out, just like we've been waiting for the classics Evelyn. But look at him, he looks fantastic. And they did so many different things, from the translucent pearl on the harness to his corner of the cob sword being remodalized, the metallics on his shin guard, the nice teal, green, purple on his, belt, see-through loincloth that almost looks like orange seaweed, the gold highlights on his shin guard of his feet, looking very, coral-like, and then showing his feet, of course, and then the back. This figure is just, it's so simple in design, but done so well that he had to take one of the top spots, because he just is excellent. And even if you own the first one, he just takes it out to another level. So number 13 is none other than Revelations Merman. Coming in at number 12 is the brand newly released New Eternia's Trapjaw. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, number 12? Oh, you definitely crazy. They executed this Trapjaw absolutely stunning in another level. He is the best looking Trapjaw to date, as far as the, having Trapjaw in this, actual scale. But he is not the first, to say the least. From his look of his portrait to the jaw, metal jaw from the New Eternia conceptual arts of the comics. The straps in the front, giving them a new blade sword that you can actually, holster in the back. The differences in the blues, the metallic on his arm with all the mechanical stuff, his other weapons, of course, his belt is fully detailed with that nice gold patina on it. The neon green on the pads of his thighs, the boots, and obviously the claw piece. The articulation is great. And then you could actually add the other regular basic claw jaw that he comes with. Trap jaw should be closer to number 1 for sure. But because he has been done multiple times, I feel that it would be unfair for other figures and characters that have not gotten the love before, right? That actually got a good representation in figure form for either the first time or since a long time in this actual line. And you see there is the classics. I have the classics there, and I have the Revelations animated series for point of reference. So you can see Trapjaw has gotten not only a lot of love, but he's gotten a lot of representation and been executed really well multiple times. Even, he got one for 2000X2, which is probably the best monstrous and badass design, but the articulation was very lackluster. So hopefully, crossing fingers, one day they'll make one in multiverse or masterverse and give it that articulation scheme that is fantastic and more modern. So the number 12 spot goes to Trapjaw. Coming in at number 11 is none other than the Galactic Protector New Adventures Slush Head. And this Slush Head is an absolute masterpiece. They executed this Slush Head with such love, kindness, and creativity. This is what figure collecting should be all about. And this new interpretation of Slush Head is just leaps and bounds better than anything you could expect compared to also to the actual original version. Even the classics version, I believe, doesn't stand a chance next to this one. From the metallic paints to the different faces in the dome, he brings a face that looks more skinnier or slender because it's supposed to be the illusion that he is there's no water. But then he brings this other one where it gives you the illusion where he's bloated or looks bloated because it's supposed to be like he's infused in water. All the devils in the paint job on the actual cross piece, a lot of new parts. As you can see, all the details on the body and the skin, and his harness in the arm, the axe that could be used also as a laser gun, the piece in the back, a lot of display options that you can do with that extra piece that you see here. He has a lot of different hand portraits as well. As you can see, this is like another sidekick for him. It's an actual robotic character thing that he carries on his back, with the brains made out of slush. And you can plug this into his back if you wanted to also, like so. You can just plug it in like that, and add the other tentacles to the other parts there on his body, just for playability, functionality. Really, you can lift these up like so, and then just put this on his back again, the backpack. And as you can see there, he It looks great, and then you can just move these accordingly like so. And the Sauce Shed is just, they killed it with this one. They killed it. He was a Target exclusive too. I just can't wait to see how they tackle like all the other, you know, new adventures of He-Man characters. And I hope that, unlike Mattel, when they did the classics, that they're able to revisit the new adventure stuff and get to create or make all of the characters and not just have to finish a few, because that's what ended up happening with the classics line. It's just heavy, so it's hard to stand them up. As you know, I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible, but it's not working out, so bear with me. Yeah, they weren't able to finish all the classics. And in the classics line, they weren't able to finish all of the mutants. And this has become a complete disaster at this point, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, give me a second. So again, they just did such a well executed job with him that even if you put him in the #1 spot or in the top 5, he would be very fitting in those spots. So Sauce Shed at number 11. Coming in at number 10 is none other than the Princess of Power, Grizzlor. And this figure is absolutely stunning. They did a fabulous job with Grizzlor in this interpretation of Princess of Power. That's why he looks like the aesthetics of Princess of Power, but executed really, really differently than all other Grizzlors. This time around, as you can see, the fur of his body comes only in the top, and then he has fur that is sculpted on his body. He has the nice patch there, the details in the wrist, the Hordak axe with the Hordak symbol, the actual bow arrow that looks like it's bleeding out snakes. His loincloth looks like Horde symbols in matte black. His portrait is stunning with the Horde symbol, then the boots with the Horde symbol and that nice gloss, and then the loincloth to match the browns. I really like this Grizzlor. I think it's spectacular. He's very underrated as far as people not really talking about him. When it comes to Masterverse, I think he was one of the best entries this year in the line, and he just looks spectacular. And you know, for point of reference, of course, because I happen to have one here. Here is the Origins Grizzlor that just came out exclusively to, you know, Mighty Collectors or whatever you want to call it, Mattel Creations rather. And he's also based off the original vintage, and you see that they look great even though they are very different. So number 10 spot goes to Grizzlor. Coming in at number 9 is none other than New Eternia Web Store. And this web store is incredible. So much playability value that he brings. He just looks spectacular. From the translucency inside the two pieces of the harness, all that detailing on the actual harness. You see that he has kind of crystallized eyes on his forehead and on his face. Nice portrait. You can create the classic kind of gun with a different take on it, or if you want, you can take this out and create his classic, you could open this like so and create his classic hook and put it in through the actual backpack. He has the 2000X expired tentacles where you can move, and they are removable. You can put them in the box. You can create this clamp pincer style attachment like the way Clam Champ has. The loincloth in the red with the blacks with nice weathering of grays all over. And the shin guards with those silver, gunmetal silver with the purple, and then the monster feet. Just Whiplash is such a great rendition and of a classic character made into newer era with the inspiration from the original comic stuff and obviously the vintage toy. I still would love to see what I think is the best sculpt of Whiplash or of Web Store they ever did, which was the one for 2000X, which was only a staction from NECA. I would love to see them make that one day into an articulated figure in Masterverse, and then that would probably take the #1 spot as far as the best Web Store. But as of right now, this is the Web Store that takes the spot for number 9. He is fantastic. Coming in number 8 is none other than New Eternia Man-E Faces. And this is a beautiful new representation like they've done of Man-E Faces in a lot of different factions, but Man-E Faces just looks incredible. He has the orange from the classic card back with the hot pinks on the circuitry and the face portrait where you can actually turn it and actually still are able to have the classic monster look, so to speak. Or actually one of the cool features, you can use this gun and put it on the top and it helps you move the head portrait. It acts as a mechanic piece so that you can actually move it like so. And the monster face, and then you can do all the way do the robotic face. So like I said, Many Faces, or Many Faces, right? He hits it out of the park. Very underrated. Came out earlier in the year. As you can see, it has the nice metallics everywhere of purple with the blues. Spot in the back. He comes with this briefcase where we all know he's an actor, and he comes with extra portraits in their faces so that you can change, and they're all interchangeable, really easy. You can actually move this off and create, and change it. I forgot how to do it, but you can change it with no problem. It's pretty easy. But Many Faces is definitely a well-crafted iteration of the character. He's had good ones from classics to Filmation, but I really like this one. This is probably my favorite one so far, because he's and even the 2000X and vintage, obviously, because it's feels very modern with the new features, makes it look cool, but at the same time, it also is he's also very close aesthetically to the original source material. So the 8th spot goes to Many Faces. So the number 6 spot goes to the Sunman Pig Face, or Pig Head, I think it is. Pig Head or Pig Face, one or the other, I get them confused. But I love this figure, the way it came out. It looks much more realistic and badass in comparison to the Origins one, which is for me, very goofy looking, and I really didn't like that about it. But as far as this Pig Head or Pig Face, he looks absolutely stunning, and I really loved it just as much as I enjoyed the Sunman, but I enjoyed Pig Face or Pig Head way more. Beautiful details, the fuchsia on the helmet, comes with that translucent dragon thing I put around his body, the harness, the neon greens, the pauldron's really nicely done with that kind of like that bluish metallic royal blue, a shield. His loincloth is spectacular, looking like a scaly snake in albino colors, beige with that. Belt is translucent mace on a ball. The guards there in fuchsia, his wrist guards, the skin of his legs, and then the boots with the furry colors of the fuchsia as well. I really like this figure. He's unique, different, now part of the faction of Masters of the Universe, and he's different character. So the fact that they did something like this in this line just shows how lucky we are and how far they can go. So he takes the number 6 spot. Coming in the number 5 spot is none other than the New Eternia Clawful. And this figure is absolute perfection. Jesus Christ, how gorgeous is this figure? And this is a deluxe figure. It was available in Target. And this figure is just how you execute a figure that used to be very, very silly and boring back in the day, and just transform them into something absolutely epic and legendary, in my opinion. From the face sculpt being all whited out with the eyes, to the shell-like, Cretaceous armor, the paint job, the weathering, great articulation, brand new fucking bicep quadrant, classic shield, classic mace. He got pincers that articulate, a new loincloth with this Cretaceous belt going down, the classic leg design on the side, the metallic monster feet, the beautiful giant size pincer with all that detail and weathering, and then the shell in the back, which looks stunning. This is an homage to the 2000X version with the beautiful blue, metallic blues, kind of navy blues, metallic navy blue, and he just looks imposing and great. Comes with an extra harness with a nice translucent jewel that you can put on top of him. And I can't say and stress so much how this is one of the best figures of this year and of this line. And the number 5 spot is almost criminal to have him there, but like I said, there was that many good figures that it was so hard to put him in this position or in this spot, but other ones just speak for themselves. So he's the number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4 is none other than this spectacular piece of plastic in none other than New Eternia Stratos. And this, oh my God, is leaps and bounds from what you would expect for Stratos. They made a figure and a character that ultimately was pretty boring, even though he was very well liked and received in the vintage line. But boring little character, and this is how they made him in beast mode. And this is absolutely figure perfection. Look at this, the mask that he brings, the feathered harness or neck piece that is an homage to the actual comic, the apparatus that connects with the holes, the connected but articulated feathers, his bulkiness, they made him very built, his loincloth with all the feathers of a bird, with the gold belt, his his staff of avian that is a reimagination, the backpack with those metallics connections of the harness as well, his face portrait. Like this Stratos, there's no way you're gonna tell me that this Stratos is not the best Stratos ever made. There's just no way. Even when you put him next to the 2000X, which I really used to like a lot, and now obviously this one took the spot, but the 2000X Stratos was awesome also, and the Filmation Stratos is pretty cool. But this is absolute perfection. And like I said, I have the vintage one here, and this is what, you know, it looks like next to him. There's no way you're gonna tell me they made a boring little figure like this and turned them into that masterpiece you see there. It's just no way. No freaking way. So he takes the number 4 spot, and that's why he's so high on the list. Coming in at the number 3 spot, you know it had to take it. It's none other than the new Eternia Buzz-Off. And this is another example of figure perfection. The best Buzz-Off made to this date in this scale, and in any scale, to be honest, because they never really made a lot of Buzz-Offs. But this figure here is easily can be number 1 spot. From the removable helmet, and it's translucent, with the wonderful portrait that he has, looking very insect but also techno-like, with technology that fits very well. That's the best portrait you've ever seen on Buzz-Off. And then you can just put it right over the head like so. The actual you know, headdress or techno headdress, like as we know, the translucent wings that expand in and out, up and down, and it actually has 4 altogether. The chest harness with the ruby and that translucent teal. The pincers, where it's a first for the figure. The wonderful new style belt with the side pieces, and the loincloth, the monster feet, the actual details there on the side, the hands, the braces on the wrist, all that patina all around the figure's actual skin. This figure is stunning. One of the top best in a long time. This figure, like I said, even if you put him in your number 1 spot, he deserves it because he's really that good. But that is my number 3 top spot. Goes to Buzz-Off. And coming in at my number 2 of top best Masterverse is none other than the Target exclusive new Eternia 2 Bad. And this was one of the first figures that came out in the year. But man, it was so good, so strong. It came out all guns blazing. Look at this 2 Bad. This thing is a beast of a figure. And the level of details from this character is tremendous. Look at this. This is absolutely stunning, from the portraits, the skin scale, the metallic in the orange harness, going all the way down, the details in the belt. He's got a gun holster because he is now able to wield the gun all the way down to the legs, as you see, on both sides. All the level of details on the shin guards of the legs. You see how he has one coming out as a foot now, and the other side is actual boot. The shield having the same detail there as the belt, with all the weathering and nicks like it's been in battle. One of the mace that it holds. The other mace you can put and store it in the back of this new shoulder portrait that matches the actual classic harness. This figure is absolutely stunning for the price it was, the size it is, how well articulated it is. I mean, my jaw just dropped when I got my hands on it, because I didn't realize how good he was. And just to give you a point of reference, and you can see Even though the classics is no slouch, but look at the classics next to this figure. The disparity is incredible in size, detail. Classics really, really always did a fantastic job, and this was the creme de la creme, no matter what, until now. This version of Too Bad is the definitive version. There's no arguing, there's no contesting, it just is. And that's why it deserves the number 2 spot. And it rightfully should be in the number 1 spot, which was really hard for me to choose. But I had to give it to the actual number 1 spot, which we'll see in a second. Who is it? You'll see in a very brief moment. So the number 2 spot goes to New Eternia, Too Bad. So my number 1 spot goes to none other than New Eternia Ram Man. And ever since I saw the promotional shots, I was like, nah, that can't be the figure. How are they going to execute that? Because you know every Ram Man we've ever gotten has always been hindered, whether it was 2000X or the original Vintage or Origins. It's been very limited in a lot of ways. And all I kept saying was to myself, well, how are they going to execute this Ram Man? And this Ram Man has a bunch of playability factors. He just looks absolutely incredible, and he's scaled correctly. He's just, chef's kiss, so to speak. His face, it looks great. The, articulation is great, not hindered. You can look down, up. The plate here on the shoulders is all pliable rubber, make it look really nice. But look at the paintwork on it. The shoulder pads, go up, move, very nice. Double jointed. He's even double jointed in the elbows, right? His gauntlet, his classic axe, which you can actually, you can actually put here in the back, I believe, with the other piece. If you put that other thing on him, he has the torso, waist articulation, front, back, like even his legs. Oh my God, with that rubbering piece, feels very import. The execution, like import figures. The boots, the tips, really well done. Articulate really well. Even a swivel, a boot swivel. So, like I said, this Ram Man, oh my God, I really adore this Ram Man. It's the best Ram Man figure we ever got. It's way better than the classics one. I'm sorry. When you can do this and put something like this simple and just actually swap out the head, right? And then you put this on him, right? This type of head portrait, for example, right? And look at that. Look at that. He's just, dear God, he's just badass. That is badassery at its finest. Ram Man is just oof, like I said. And you haven't even put the harness, the other harness he brings, or the other portrait which he brings also looks like this with glasses, which is also very unique and different with the spikes, metal spikes on the top. If you want to put that one on him with the harness, and the harness just goes right over, so it makes it easy. Goes right over his, this, and you don't have to take nothing out. And again, like I said, he articulates so well. He's colored so well. He's just, like I said, the best of the best. Like, Ram Man, I think, is beyond what we would expect from, a Ram Man to this date. He's just the best ever interpretation of Ram Man. And just to give you guys an idea, I'm gonna bring in the Origins Classics with the same mask, which it brought it, and you can see that it's still, it still has the swivel there, but you know, it's got that feature where it'll shoot out on it. And this is Origins, which is based off the vintage, so you can see the size, right? That they're both kind of short but not too big, because you know how small and stubby the Ramman is, and he's just a little bit bigger. But look at the disparity, look at the difference. Oh my Jesus. Ramman definitely, without a doubt, takes the #1 spot for the best Masters of the Universe, Masterverse figure of 2023. So guys, there is my list. Now you guys know that Origins, although it's the most favorable one out of these lines, for me, Origins is just more nostalgia based off what we grew up with. So for me, Origins is cool and all, but I felt like it's not enough differences other than the articulation points to kind of categorize it in best figures of the year, with all the top high quality figures that we're getting from so many other lines, and especially the Masterverse. But just as a bonus, I figured I'd do the one figure that I think was the best of the best in Origins last for this year, which was only available and obtainable through Mattel Creations, but they did a phenomenal job. And because of that, I'm going to put him as the best Origins figure of the year based on my choice. So let's take a look at that really quick right now. And here it is, guys. Here's my Origins #1 best figure for Origins of 2023, and that's none other than Fangor. And this was a character that was unique, made new, I believe, for classics, and the interpretation that they managed to accomplish in Origins is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I couldn't imagine getting a figure this detailed and this wonderful looking when we were little, in comparison to all the other characters. All the scaling, all the same details, the belt, the chest, his, you know, his mechanic, I guess he's like a mechanical type of character, that he's a mechanic and fixes things. His blade, right? All in silver. The wrist gauntlet. The knee pads. The detail, look at all the detail on the shin guard. And his foot, the coloration, his teeth that they actually come out, his eyes, they actually come off his teeth, and you can put longer versions of his teeth, and you can have it like protruding in to give you the effect and illusion like they come in and out, like a serpent. These are the long teeth, which you can just swap out. And I just think he's a very, very well executed Origins 5.5 inch, you know, figure. And that is my #1 best Origins Master of the Universe figures for 2023. So guys, listen, thank you for staying for so long. I know it's a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you appreciate it. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a lot of work. I'm tired, but it is what it is. That was my countdown for best of in the Masters of the Universe Multiverse line of 2023, and my best of for Origins. I hope you share this video with someone else that might like it. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Leave me down in the comments below any thoughts on my picks and what I chose, or if you think I'm crazy, if you didn't like none of my picks, or tell me what were some of your favorites and picks, and what's your #1. Just, you know, for good figure conversation. As always, you can find me any social media outlet or platform, from Twitter all the way to Instagram. It's all down in the description below. You can also hit me up in any one of those social media outlets on DM if you want to talk, ask me any questions. Perhaps maybe you wanted to donate something to the channel so that I can highlight or showcase the way I do this. It would be an honor. I would be completely humbled to do so, and it would mean the world to me. because it will go a long way helping out the channel, believe it or not. Now, last but certainly not least, if you guys want to help my channel directly out, so that I can do bigger and better things like this, it will go a long way. It's not mandatory. It's only if you want to. If you feel it, the kindness from your heart. If you have the means to, it's not necessary. You can do it with my Patreon and PayPal information, also down in the description below. So, guys, I'm signing off with my best of Multiverse Masters of the Universe for 2023, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys soon in the next countdown, which should be some Star Wars Black Series and some maybe third party or G.I. Joe, and then I'll do a complete 25 or 20 countdown of the best figures overall with all lines mixed together and pick out my number one. I'll see you guys soon. Love you. Until the next one. Bye.